Right, good morning guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've ventured out to Roodekoppies Dam, so hopefully I can take you on the boat today and hopefully we can try and find some fish. So just to give you a bit of an idea of what my plans are today, the dam came up significantly to 100% level very quickly, and now obviously they're drawing the water down now for agriculture, etc. So the dam's now dropped to just over 80%. So what I'm predicting is not all the fish have moved out the shallows, but I certainly predict that a lot of the better sized fish have probably moved off to the offshore rock piles and maybe some deeper trees. So if you find a combination of rock and tree, that is obviously the bonus pack. So what I'll do is, join me on the boat today as I try and sort of figure these fish out. And then we'll go through the bait selection on how to fish them. So one last thing, those of you that haven't subscribed, please, I'll ask you to subscribe. It absolutely costs nothing. So hit the subscribe button, join me on my journeys as I cover all the waters around our sort of Southern Africa area, and hopefully we can learn some things together. So that's my plan. So please subscribe, like and share. Join me as we unpack the rod box and let's see what we got for today. Right, as we arrive at this spot, this is the underwater rock pile that often produces some really good fish. But you can see now that I've stopped quite a way off the rock pile. I'm now just using my electronics. I've got my map set up on my Lawrence unit in the front, and you can just see I've topped the top of the rock pile, and immediately as soon as that crankbait has hit the top of the rock pile, a fish has climbed on my bait. So often these small fish are like very aggressive when the crankbait hits, but it's a good sign. It's always a good sign when you put the bait across the rock and the fish smashes into it. Now I've got to make contact again. There you can see on my Lawrence fish finder, I'm just giving you an underwater view of the rock pile in from the side scan, and there's your rock pile on Google Earth. There you can see I'm hitting it, and immediately that fish eats the crankbait. So like I said, it's important to make bottom contact, make sure that your crankbait hits the top of the rock, and often you get results like this. Very nice fish. Using 10-pound fluorocarbon. And just make sure that you keep the pressure on it. At this point this fish is getting tired now, so it's now time to lip her. She's really got hold of the crankbait, so as it touched the top of the rock, I just felt her absolutely connect with the bait. So awesome feeling when she ate it. Very good fish. Just take the crankbait out of her mouth. So this particular crankbait's a 12-foot diver, and the top of the rock sitting in about 10 foot. So there's the crankbait, and that's the result of that. So as soon as you make contact, just over 2 kilograms, let's get her back in the water as quickly as possible. So unclip the scale and send her back to where she belongs. Another great fish coming off a deep rock pile. So good results. Okay, so let's maybe take 2 minutes and let's run through the tackle that we'll be using, well, the setup that I use for my crankbait. As you can see right now, the deeper rock piles are definitely producing some nice fish. So let's just take 2 minutes to quickly talk about it. Let's start off primarily with the reel. My reel of choice is the Corrado 200 PG reel. Okay, now this is a good reel for one reason only. The most important thing is the ratio. It's a 5-to-1 gear ratio with a 12-pound drag system and merely weighs 7.8 ounces. Okay, so it's got 7 ball bearings, and really this is one of the reels that I really work hard, and has never ever let me down. So this here is designed for crankbait fishing. Right, so this is the reel. This is what it looks like, and as you can see, it's a real good looking machine. I've rigged up 10-pound fluorocarbon with my setup, and there's two reasons for this. Obviously, if you want your crankbait to hit the bottom and make contact with the rock, whatever cover that you're fishing, then it's ideal to get your bait down to the maximum depth. And by doing that, you need to also, sometimes your line thickness can compromise the diving depth of your crankbait. So I generally use 10-pound fluorocarbon, which enables me to sort of maximize my diving depth in most of my crankbaits. One thing, while we're talking about getting your bait down, it's very important to understand that most of the bites are caused when you deflect off the cover. So whether you're deflecting off a tree, whether you're deflecting off rocks, whatever it may be, it's important to maintain contact with the bottom, particularly in the area that you're targeting. So, for example, if the rock pile, let's say it tops out at 10 foot, then I suggest you using a sort of a 10 to 12 foot diver to enable you to touch the top of the rock. So if you're still not hitting the rock on a full cast, then I suggest you go one up. So for example, there's a 10-foot diver. Okay, this is a 10-foot diving crankbait and dives to 10 foot quite easily. However, if I'm not hitting the bottom, then I will generally then pick up a 12-foot diver and I'll hit the top of the rock. So that's exactly what's happened today. I'm using this particular bait, has been the bait of sort of the most success, and it's been the flavor of the day. So the fish haven't left this bait alone. But most importantly, like I said, you have to hit the top of the rock. If you don't hit the top of the rock, then you do not get the bite. This particular one dives to sort of 17 foot on 10-pound line. And it's important to make the longest possible cast to enable your crankbait to get down to the required depth. The rod that I use is a 7'6" rod. It's a 10 to 20 pound. It's a moderate fast action, and it really comfortably casts a cast weight of anything from 3/8 to 1 ounce. So any of these baits, any of these particular baits will get cast comfortably with this rod. So the most important thing here is to allow your bait to make, to get your longest possible cast, and like I said, to maximize your crankbait fishing. I do use a speed clip. I use a Norman speed clip on my baits. It just also enables me to make quick changes on the water. Anytime that I really feel that I need to change my color, switch my color, it's quick and easy to change. That really helps me along the way as well. More than that, I think everything else is sort of covered. I obviously do vary my length of my rods. My longest rod is 7'11". That's really when I really want to make those longest possible casts. And sometimes I even then go down to 8-pound fluorocarbon, which really enables me to get down to the depths. But in most cases I use a 7'6", like I said, and I can fish my rattle traps on it. I can fish my diving baits. I even fish my balsa baits on this, but we'll get into that in a separate episode. Right, so let's move on. Let's get back to the water and let's keep cranking away. Right, again here operating on a offshore rock pile. Very important to maintain contact, and as you see, bump the rock and immediately the fish grabs the bait. Doesn't feel like a massive fish, certainly not over 2 kilos like the one before, but nevertheless a good quality fish. Like I said, absolutely imperative that you maintain contact with the bottom at all times. As soon as that crankbait hits the bottom, bounces off the rock, the fish will grab the bait. Just barely landing this one. Good quality fish. There we go. There's a fine example of a cranking fish taken off a rock pile. Let's get it back into the water. Another good release. Very important to practice catch and release. So guys, as the day draws to an end, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Just cranking and really enjoying myself on some of the rock piles. Here's another small keeper for the day, just to end the day off. But on the next series, We'll be going into a little bit more detail with doing some pitching, doing some Texas rig fishing, and how to rig it, what rods, what reels to use. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I really appreciate you watching it till this point. So please, right now, please remember to subscribe, hit the share button, share it with all your friends, and like it if you enjoyed it, and please feel free to comment. I'd really appreciate it.